I guess he's, as far as dressing goes, he's a little more gay Skeletor.
Sure. Oh yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Incompetent fool. You
You go, incompetent fool. Yeah, now I have to tell the other guy.
My boss?
fool. You have failed your mission. I must report you to the Great One.
Look at my lips.
I thought this was like, you know what this means? I must now destroy you.
Yeah,
I have to kill you. It's like, no, now I got to go to human resources.
It's the bureaucracy of supervillains.
You know what that means? That means now I got to go to my boss and tell him.
And he's not going to be happy with me. So really, this is on me now.
Yeah, exactly.
You messed up, so then I messed up. So
now I got to go to my boss and get my ass chewed out. Vote for us for the Chronicle Award. But we're up for Best Podcast, and I'm up for Best Movie Critic. So if you can, go to vote.austinchronicle.com. Sign in for the Best of Austin 2023 ballot. Register with your email, your name, first and last, and your zip code. Go to the Politics and Media category. Go down to Podcast. Go down to Double Toasted and cast your vote. As I said, on this show, we like to talk about very special episodes, which we just talked about with a certain thing we were talking about a little while ago. Very, very special episodes of retro cartoons are, I like to give you a little history lesson with cartoons that I grew up with back in the day. And I thought since Guardians of the Galaxy was coming out, that I would concentrate on a cartoon about a team of space adventurers.
okay, sounds good. Makes sense.
Yeah, this would probably be more appropriate for something like Power Rangers, like you said.
Sure.
But hey, I've been wanting to talk about this for a while, so I'm going to use that as an excuse to talk about one of my absolute favorite cartoons when I was a wee boy, and that is Battle of the Planets. What Speed Racer was for kids in the 60s. Battle of the Planets was for kids like me in the 70s.
Gotcha.
Yeah, which is, it just introduced you to anime, something you had never really seen before.
Sure.
And something that always seemed just a little bit edgier and cooler than American cartoons.
More adult themes in it.
Yeah, yeah. It is indeed very, very 70s. So the story behind this with Sandy Frank, I'll tell you a little bit. Sandy Frank was his producer. He went to some convention. I think he went to, maybe it was Cannes or something.
Okay.
But he went there and he saw this show. And he said, this is really badass, man.
Right,
I have to come back and bring this to U.S. audiences. But there were certain conditions that he had to do it under.
Watching, warning against surprise attack by alien galaxies from beyond space.
So they really were like Power Rangers. They would, they would. Now, keep in mind that this is years before Power Rangers. And the whole thing was in this show, and I have to stress that in this version of the show, the whole thing was, as they said, they were teenagers who had superpowers and they were always battling aliens from another planet.
Right.
Now that is significant because that is part of one of the big changes that they had to do in bringing this show to the U.S. It's very 70s, like when if you watched any kind of cop show or action show back in the 70s here in America, at night, they'd have music like this.
Of course.
You hear that? Had the chicken wow guitar.
Dedicated, inseparable, invincible.
Now, in addition to this being very 70s because of the music, it was also just kind of very glam rock. Like these elaborate costumes that rock stars wore. This is like David Bowie back in the day. All of them wore the boots with heels on it and everything. It was very glam rock in a way, man, for the time. And it was very representative of the time. So yeah, it's a very 70s show, man. And it's the show came out, I believe, in like 1971, 70.
Really?
Like
Okay, because I was gonna say this was like reminding me of like Star Wars, like the opening text crawl and stuff like that. So I was gonna ask if this was after Star Wars, but okay, there you go.
Well, yes and no.
Oh.
So here's a little history on this show. So originally the show had a different name. completely different name. It was called Science Ninja Team Gotchaman. Gotchaman.
Gotta change that name.
Science Ninja Team Gotchaman.
All right.
Sort of like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Right.
Science Ninja Team Gotchaman. And the show was actually more mature.
I figured it was because there was certain stuff that they were mentioning. I'm like, that's a little dark.
Yeah.
There's like subtly, I was like,
Well, what happened is that so much had to be taken out
okay.
of the show. And, so what you're getting here is just kind of snippets of what the original show was.
Right.
There was so much that was taken out that they actually had to create new things to pad the show out.
Okay.
Because when this guy Sandy Frank went over and saw it, it was something where it was for more mature audiences.
Right.
When it was Gotchaman. But that was for the Japanese, because the Japanese never saw animation as being just a children's medium.
Sure.
But for him to bring it over here to America, he had to he said, well, I can't play it, the adult version or the mature version for people. So I got to try to tailor this for American audiences and make this for kids. And so they had to take out a lot of stuff, a lot of stuff that either had harsh language in it or, graphic violence.
Right.
And they had to take so much out that they didn't really have enough show
for an episode. Yeah.
So they had to create new characters for the show.
Okay.
So that's where you get this character. And you might have noticed a slight difference. We'll talk about that, where you might have noticed the character of 7 Zark 7.
Somewhere off the west coast of the United States, 900 fathoms beneath the surface of the sea, is this secret and extremely important world defense base. Without this precious ore, nothing can be grown.
So that's bullshit, right?
Yeah, I figured.
None of that is part of the original show. This ore that they mine and all that kind of stuff. No, that was made up for this show, because they said this is where they get the whole thing of having to go to other planets and have to get and deliver this ore to them and help planets grow and thrive. And if you notice in the show, every planet looks like Earth.
Yes.
Because all of this took place on Earth, I think, in the original show. They didn't go to other planets.
Right.
They didn't do all that kind of stuff.
Well, I also know with the robot, it's like he's never on screen with them. So I'm like, he's clearly from an addition that came later on.
Yeah, no, they had, this is an American creation.
Right.
Because if you look at this, like, he's not nearly as cool as the other designs.
Not at all. Like, very uninspired.
Yeah, like he's like the other characters are, they got shading and they got crosshatch lines and they're very detailed, and this is just flat.
Yeah.
So they tried to kind of capture a little bit of the Japanese anime feeling, but you can tell that this is an American design right here. Now, in later episodes, they did appear, but they didn't. They look like shit.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, they like took them from model sheets or something, traced them and put them in there.
Oh,
so
God, okay.
So a couple of characters would appear in 7 Zark 7's base, but that was rare.
Gotcha.
You were looking at the crawl at the beginning of the show.
Very Star Wars.
Yeah, it is very Star Wars. And so when I said, when you asked if this is influenced by Star Wars, and I said yes or no, or yes and no, the thing is no, because the show came out before Star Wars, I believe.
Right.
But when the show got brought over here to America, Star Wars was out already.
Gotcha.
And Sandy Frank wanted to cash in on that.
Of course. Yeah.
So that is actually why this is called Battle of the Planets. It's a rip on Star Wars.
Gotcha.
Battle of the Planets. And now I'm going to show you something else here. And you tell me what you think. So look at old 7 Zark 7 over here.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds you of
R2D2. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That he was intentionally designed to rip off R2D2.
Yeah.
He's there to be kind of a rip off of Star Wars, help them rip Star Wars off even more. But also, he's there to narrate the parts that they couldn't show.
Boy, does he love narrating.
Yeah, and that's because they had to make it more kid friendly. So he was there narrating these parts of the show. Or it was either to make it more kid friendly, or he was there to narrate these parts of the show. Let me see here. Oh, well, that was one right there. We was already narrating, but he's there to narrate parts of the show where they just have to pad it out.
Gotcha.
Like parts that they couldn't show that were story parts. And either because there was some violence in there or a hint of sexuality or you know, in order to directly translate,
Sure.
the characters were actually using profanity.
Really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So in order for any of that, they just said, you know, we just can't use that scene.
Mm-hmm.
So 7 Zark 7 was here to actually help out with that.
Right. Okay.
You know, he was always watching G-Force. That was his thing. I'm always watching them.
That's so creepy. Though.
Yeah.
It's like, I know it's meant to like make it more for children, but the fact is like, I'm always watching 24/7 every minute. It's my
24/7.
life. He also mentions like, I like to watch certain members more than the others. I'm like, ooh.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even then, I was like, so you wrote this to be less mature or less creepy? And
Yeah,
it's like, no,
it's still creepy.
Yeah. It's
Perv bot.
But you know, he always has to watch them because whenever anything goes down, he has to be the one to alert them.
Yeah, of course.
You know, there's something happening in this sector GX152. You know, and so this is when he calls the team. Now here's where you, in addition to Alan Young, the guy we just talked about, that voices 7 Zark 7, you might recognize some other voices in here.
Center to June calling. This is 7 Zark 7. Come in, Mars. Okay, ears on. 10-2, Zark. I will now transmute you to full jet.
So you recognize the voice?
Is that Casey Kasem?
That's Casey Kasem.
Okay, I thought so.
Shaggy.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, that's Casey Kasem.
It's a little deeper, a little deeper.
Yeah, yeah. I'll play that a little bit for y'all again right here, man. So yeah, the guy that voiced Scooby-Doo, our Shaggy on Scooby-Doo, Casey Kasem, radio DJ.
Yeah.
Did a lot of cartoon voices.
Yeah.
And this was one of them that I remember, man, because I remember when I watched this, I was like, wait a minute, that's Shaggy.
Center to June calling. This is 7. Okay, ears on. 10-2, Zark.
The funny thing is that voice does not go with those big blue eyes.
Not at all.
I mean, this is obviously the voice of a 45-year-old man.
Voicing what? I don't know,
A
teenager?
teenager, yeah.
Young teen? Yeah.
Young, pretty-ass teenager.
Yeah.
So this is where he assembles the team, you know. Now, this is the way it always happened on the show. Something went down.
Right.
7 Zark 7 was the first one to get the call or notice it because these assholes never knew what was happening. They were out flying planes and stuff just for fun. And he would have to call the team and tell them, all right, hey, you guys assemble or transmute.
Oh, of
and
course.
transmute was just their way of becoming G-Force. And if you think transmute means that they're going to be doing some cool Voltron Transformers type thing, think again.
Transmute. One of the many conversion phases I control, but Mark's the real leader.
So Mark's the leader, and as you can see, he turned into his G-Force character.
Yeah.
But you know, you get some sparkles, some quick cuts.
I know that.
You
Sound
slide off
effects.
screen for a little bit, and because
He transformed.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was just they just didn't want to animate that shit,
Probably.
or
Cheap.
or the animation was something they didn't have time to show. Or this was Americans editing and animating over this because they needed a cool way to have them change.
Yeah.
I think that some of this might have been edited.
Oh, I'm sure.
But I don't know.
I'm sure the Japanese version is a little more advanced.
Yeah.
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 Maybe sexual. Oh, maybe they maybe stripped all his clothes off or something like that. It might be. I don't
Dick
know.
popped out.
Yeah.
But that was it. That's what you got right there. But as a kid, it was like, hey, cool.
Yeah,
You know?
no, of course. You don't think
Yeah,
about those kind of things.
You'd be surprised how a little light show could
Mesmerize
just
someone.
mesmerize a kid.
Yep.
Yeah. It's almost like hypnotizes
Yeah,
in a
I
way.
know. And kids are like, yeah, I want to transmute too. And all
Yeah,
that. Of course.
you didn't care as long as you got like some good lights going on.
Yep.
Some swirling shit.
all you need.
Yeah, we had short attention spans back then. So after Mark transmutes, then that's when the rest of the team comes rushing in because they all know that they got to drop everything and come and solve some big problem that's happening. So we get to introduce the rest of the team, and so this is a way of coming in, and this is the first episode, by the way, I
Right.
believe. So this is a way for them to come in and introduce them, their specialty vehicles, and also just a little hint of what their personality is like.
This big fellow is Tiny Harper. He pilots the command ship and assembles the crew.
And he's fat.
Yeah, that's why I call him Tiny. It's
Yeah.
funny, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's fat. You should just call him his fat ass right
Yeah,
here. All he can do is pilot this ship. He ain't got nothing
Yeah,
to save him today.
no.
I was like, damn.
I like this guy, Jason. I always like this guy.
Hothead.
Yeah. They introduced Jason as the hothead.
This is Jason, a very capable beautiful, but just a trifle eager and hot-headed sometimes. So emotional. I do wish he had solid-state circuitry like mine.
What he's saying is, I wish this guy wasn't a dick.
Yeah, exactly.
Wish this guy wasn't an asshole, man.
I love how everyone's able to get into the ship real easy, but he has to go the hard way. He's like, I gotta pull myself up every goddamn time.
That's why he's probably so angry, man.
Yeah.
Because look, Seven's not lying. This guy really is an asshole.
There may be more. We've got to follow it and find its base. We're gonna play tag. Isn't that fun, Tiny?
Like, bitch, that wasn't necessary.
What are you getting mad at me for? It's like, yeah, we gotta do our job.
I'm just doing my job, man. It's like, man, that wasn't even called for.
Wow.
Why are you being childish? Yeah. He's like, this guy, I mean, he's an asshole and could stand to use some anger management.
Kiop's right. I say wipe it out. Hold it, Jason. For what?
Oh,
Don't
what?
touch me!
Yeah. Oh, what?
Yeah.
What you gonna do?
Wow.
Yeah, Jason was always like that, man. Like they kind of wrote him to be just like maybe too much of an asshole.
Yeah.
On here.
Well, it's unnecessary.
Yeah, they're like, well, that's his character. So they kind of overcompensated for it. And then there's the only female member of the group, which is Princess.
I sort of pay special attention to Princess. I really don't know just why.
Because you're a pervert, that's why.
God, when I first heard that, I was like, what?
I was like, yeah, out here. You know, we know why.
I don't understand.
Yeah,
it's like
'cause-
watching her a lot.
Yeah, because you're stroking your little sprocket while you're watching her, man.
Oh, not the sprocket.
Yeah, a little, yeah. I don't know why.
Yeah,
I'm just doing my job.
We know why.
Yeah, because she got ass and legs. That's why. Some titties. So we know why.
Yep.
Same reason why we're watching.
Yeah.
I mean, I ain't any better than you. So the weirdest one, and I remember this as a kid, man.
This one is very unusual.
Oh, well, no, this is what I love about. Like, you don't learn shit about Princess, at least in this episode.
Nope.
You just learn that Seven loves to jack off to her, and she wants to have sex with Mark.
Okay, Mark, let's try your kooky idea.
Hey, if you don't mind, it's my turn. I'm going with Mark.
Bitch. No wonder he's so mad at Mark all the time.
Oh, I want to have Princess.
Well, you like him more than me.
Yeah, I'm great, you know.
What's wrong with me? So the weirdest one of them all is this little guy on the screen right here.
Little mutant.
Yeah, Kiop, who that's his name. And so he's the weird one because one, he was manufactured.
This is Keon. He's very special and different. He was manufactured. His powers are amazing.
And you're thinking peculiar. Okay, man, what does he stutter? Does
speech impediment?
Does he, yeah, a little stutter. There's a hell, he has a speech impediment. Yeah, speech impediment. It's one of the weirdest speech. I mean, you thought Tourette's was bad.
Yeah, this is gibberish.
Yeah, his Tourette's is mutated.
My bare hand.
You know what? They say that it's a speech impediment, but he might be mentally ill.
I think it's probably that.
There's something down there.
What?
like he takes 5 minutes to say one word. What ocean?
Oh, God. Well, it's so funny because all their backstory, because they sometimes reference that they're orphans, that they're products of experiments and things like, oh yeah, I could tell like this came from darker materials. So he's probably like some inbred mutant thing or whatever.
Oh yeah, no, he's definitely a mutant. Oh yeah, he's definitely. I mean, like that. They with that bow.
They even gave him like a derpier helmet.
Yeah,
like everyone has like these cool helmets where it's all like slanted and pointed.
Where everybody's
like,
got falcons and predatory bird. He's got like a damn parakeet.
He's got like a dodo or something. Dodo bird.
I like the way the other team members sometimes they just looking at it like, okay, whatever, man.
Yeah.
Oh, teeny weeny.
Yeah, I know, Kiop.
Yeah, okay, whatever, man.
All right.
How
we have to keep them around.
Like they don't even know what they're saying half the time.
No.
You have episodes that if you don't get if you feel like a character is shallow, you don't get enough characterization of that particular person, then or personality of that person, then you'll have an episode that's fully dedicated to them.
That's cool.
That's cool that they're able to bring the characters out like this, but the action is where it gets weird.
Right.
Because the action is where it gets so heavily edited because you have to edit around the violence.
Of course.
So when you have to heavily edit that, things just happen. Like they don't explain a lot of stuff that happened here. Like out of nowhere, just a giant robot kaiju just starts attacking. See, and those guys right there, like,
yeah, who are those guys?
you never find out because you know why? They probably died horribly.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
They probably got blasted or something, but they had to cut that out so you don't get to see what either happens to characters that come in and seem like, they came out of nowhere. Because either those characters were meant to die,
right,
or those characters had a bigger story that was edited out. Yeah,
right.
I think they were dead. I think these characters just died.
Sure, got blasted.
Yeah.
Don't mind me. Oh, I probably fell on top of him.
Yeah.
Definitely did.
Somebody was in that car probably.
I'm just going to hit this building and nothing thinks they're shooting me.
So what happens? Just random. Like,
Random.
Like you don't really know why he's blowing stuff up. You don't know what his target is. So they come in later and tell you that he came in to steal the ore.
Right. Unobtainium, yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Might as well
be. Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like he came in to, like they show you, I'm sure that's not what it was on the original cartoon, but here they show him the giant kaiju, whatever, breaking into a vault and stealing something. So they just edited it to say, oh, he's coming in and stealing the vitamins or whatever it is that helps all these other planets. Minerals, yeah. Oh, hold on. Let me cut this up here. So this ore that they take to other planets, they just got one briefcase of it.
Yeah, that's how they do it, man. Old fashioned.
Yeah. So also because there's a lot of stuff taken out the action and is heavily edited, that means that you don't get a whole lot about the villains.
No, not at all.
No, the villains here.
They mentioned them like, oh yeah, we fought them before. I'm like, oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, this is the first episode here. Yeah, and so we're late to the party, but the villains come in and they just you don't know that much about them. You just know that they're evil and that they dress very very I don't know
ostentatiously,
ornately, ostentatiously. Yeah, they're they have big colorful costumes and they're just evil, like this octopus head dude that we're about to see.
An Earthship on our tail? Fools! They'll be sorry they ever found us. They're powerless against our prismatic reflectors.
You know what? I'm going to say that this is one of the few properties that I've seen where the henchmen have better suits than the villain. They
really do.
Like this dude here. It's like a chain of command of crazy costumes.
Yes.
Because this, like, I don't know this dude's name. I forgot his name. I'm sure they said in another episode. Might have said it in this one, but I just call him Octopus Head. But I do remember the main villain. So this guy has to actually report to another dude who's just not as crazy as the costume as this guy has, but this dude is definitely a little more glamorous. Zoltar. Oh, okay. Now the thing with Zoltar, I'll tell you a little bit. Zoltar is presented pretty straightforward in this episode, and of course, he's one of those guys that's quick to tell you, you have failed me for the last time, or you idiot, you failed your mission, you buffoon. Yeah, he's a more. I guess he's, as far as dressing goes, he's a little more gay Skeletor.
Sure. Oh yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Incompetent fool. You
go, incompetent fool. Yeah. Now I have to tell the other guy.
My boss.
Fool. You have failed your mission. You know what this means?
G-Force possesses strange powers.
I must report you to the Great One.
Look at my lips.
I thought this was like, you know what this means? I must now destroy you. I have to kill you. It's like, no, now I got to go to human resources.
It's the bureaucracy of supervillains.
You know what that means? That means now I got to go to my boss and tell him.
And he's not going to be happy with me. So really, this is on me now.
Yeah, exactly.
You messed up, so then I messed up. So
now I got to go to my boss and get my ass chewed out. Now his boss is nothing but a floating mask in the ethers.
Yeah, in space. I don't know.
Space, yeah. Some dude called Galactic Leader, I think.
Incompetent fool.
Oh, that's the other guy.
You boob.
The space terrapin has outlived its usefulness. It must be destroyed.
And it's like a bird head, a bird mask.
Smudge.
Yeah, it does.
Like they worked in a drawing and Iris went, not that one. The guy's like, no, this is perfect.
Like if you turn it upside down, it looks like a character with that tongue sticking out.
Yeah. He's blipping like a little cat or something.
Like the Mr. Poison sign. That's stupid, man. So when G-Force infiltrates their ship, they're surrounded by henchmen with guns.
Yep.
All of them. And they all pointed at them.
So Earth sends children against us, against the most powerful spaceship from Crab Nebulae.
Love that laugh.
So nothing but levels.
Oh yeah.
Levels of nothing but armed henchmen pointing their guns at G-Force. But do they use them? No.
Hate to disappoint your ruler,
Hold hands.
but you can take him.
You know, you can shoot anytime. You can fire at any moment.
No, let's wait. Let's see what the gymnastics they're going to do.
They're all
right
like, wait a minute, yeah. Man, this looks kind of cool.
here. Okay.
This message just for laughs.
Bug up!
The dude was saying, huh? Like, what the you talking about?
He's distracted them. Trying to figure out, like, what are you?
Bug up!
What?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Everybody, ooh, this is going to be good.
All right.
Putting the guns down.
Hold on. Yeah. Ooh, what a nice show. Okay.
This is the best show ever. They all end up looking like Sylvester Stallone or something.
See, they got Stallone face. Animation, that's fun.
Again, if you want to know how 70s this is, like all these guys are wearing bell bottoms.
Yep. Oh yeah, man.
If you look at it. So the deal with Zoltar, and that's the name of the character, Zoltar, and
The middle villain, I guess.
yeah,
in this
yeah,
case.
yeah, he's
hierarchy.
upper management.
Right, upper management. Yeah.
With some of the violence that they have here,
Yeah.
they still had to put it in. So it was just no way around it because they still had, if they took too much out, they wouldn't have a show.
Sure.
So they had moments of violence, but that's where 7 Zark 7 would come in.
Of course, yeah.
He'd be like, hey kids, don't worry about it. He just kind of knocked them out. Mark, with his boomerang, he just kind of knocked the guns out their hands and they'll be, hey, you know what? Give them 5 minutes. They'll be back up and they'll be perfectly fine.
The sound like temporary concussions among the enemy. But they'll be up again shortly.
No, he slit their throats and knocked them out.
I thought so.
Man.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, cut their hands off.
Yeah. No, he killed them.
Let them out.
Yeah.
They'll be out shortly.
But they'll be back up. Don't worry, kids. He just knocked them out. And by the way, he didn't even hit them with his sonic sound wave of boomerang.
Yeah.
Did you hear that? With his sonic boomerang sound wave, he knocked them out.
The sound of Mark's sonic boomerang caused slight temporary concussions among the...
Slight temporary concussions.
Of course. That's a bladed weapon.
No. Those fools are dead. They slit their throats, man.
Oh.
They got one moment here. Like, if you listen to some of the dialogue, it's I would love to know what the Japanese version sound like, because it's just goofy here.
Good old reliable Zark says it's invaders from planet Spectra again.
Wonder what they'll look like this time, Mark.
Probably two-headed.
Well, they say 2 heads are better than 1.
Not on the same
Body?
Shut up.
Shut up. Stupid ass. As a kid, you got to keep in mind, this was the first time we had ever seen anything like this.
This type of animation.
Yeah, this type of animation.
Right,
It's and maybe you saw Speed Racer like where I came up.
Right.
Like I don't know, I grew up in Waco. I hadn't seen Speed Racer yet.
Astro Boy, maybe.
No, didn't see
Not even
it. Gigantor, none of that. I hadn't seen any of that. Now maybe you had seen some of that if you're my age growing up, but in Waco I didn't. But it was just something about this right here. Like the animation was better than those shows.
Yeah.
The action was better. The drawings were badass, man. And the animation was just so cool, especially when it got into the action sequences. Sure. Like I remember, kids trying to draw like this. Like how today the way kids try to draw, Naruto or Dragon Ball. Before that whole animation wave kicked in, there was a whole group of kids who were artistically influenced by Battle of the Planets.
That's true. Yeah, look at that.
Well, what they did was more than things like Gigantor and Speed Racer. Those were very limited in animation.
Sure.
This was like a comic book.
Right.
Brought, a comic book panel brought to life, like the shading and the detail on these characters. It was animated more than the shows. It animated more than a lot of American shows.
Oh, of course.
And you know, the show had a good gimmick, especially for like a superhero show. A big part of this show was when the shit really went down. You know, they had this thing called the Fiery Phoenix, and the Fiery Phoenix. And the reason why it was a big deal is because they can only do it every now and then. You know, it was rarely ever done. So it was if they had to do it, then either the threat was that big or something special was happening.
G-Force has only a few seconds to escape. If they have no other alternative, they'll have to transmute into the Fiery Phoenix for ultimate defense.
So it just meant that they have to use all their powers to do it. And the reason why it was so cool is because watching it as a kid, I was like, man, they made it. You knew why they only had to use it like rarely. Okay. Because it looked painful. It looked like that shit hurts when they had to do the Fiery Phoenix.
Modulator set, fusion on.
There it is. and they died.
And they died. Yeah, that's what you felt like because afterwards they showed them in the explosion.
Right.
So yeah, man, it was like when they used that, it felt like. Yeah, it
was meaningful.
It was, it felt like they would actually die if they used it too many times.
It's funny because, you know, clearly stuff like Voltron and Power Rangers was influenced by this show. And they kind of did the inverse of what they do, you know, where they only use that however many episodes. But then when you think of like Power Rangers, like they always would transform into the Zord at the end.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, or they would form Voltron at the end of the episode. It's like, and it didn't feel special anymore. It's
well,
like,
you're right.
Well, of course. But this one is kind of the opposite, where it's like, no, we can only use this every once in a while. So I kind of like that. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. When you were a kid, like you would hope that this is the episode where they would use the Fiery Phoenix.
Yeah. How are they going to use it? What's the situation?
Yeah. This is the whole episode where you thought like, oh man, you know, and it was just what it was. It was just their ship would turn into a bird, which, you know, Phoenix, which was cool for kids, man. And it was also cool because the villains always thought that they were dead.
Right.
Because it would always end in an explosion. So
we got them, right?
The villains were like, those assholes, look at them. I won.
Well, I guess I won't go home in disgrace after all.
Yeah.
Well, they won't be able to do that again, I'm sure.
Yeah. Until next time.
Well, I almost had total digital readout failure, but G-Force made it. Mark activated the subatomic generator perfectly to transmute them into the Fiery Phoenix.
Yeah, the Fiery Phoenix was cool, man. I used to love that. Mojo! I'll fire him up. Yeah, I don't know.
You won't escape.
No, you will not. I'm gonna set his ass on fire.
Oh no.
And again, because they took so much out, the show just ends. It's just
after that.
Yeah, it's just
like, all right,
Zark 7 just explaining what happens. Again, narrating what happens at the end.
Meanwhile, it's like we cut back and we're like, oh, the pain is horrible. We can't keep doing this. We're child soldiers. Why are we doing it? That's the other thing about this. Like, they're straight up child soldiers in this. Like, even how they reference them, it's like, oh my God.
Yeah, no,
they have no parents or anything like that.
They're mutated kids. You know, they call them superheroes, but they're just mutant
they're
kids.
Mutants, that's what they are.
So at the end of the show, after Seven Zark 7 has just finished narrating, actually that was the end right there with that Fiery Phoenix part.
Right.
Like that was him explaining what happened, and it just goes to this right here.
Activated the subatomic generator perfectly to transmute them into the Fiery Phoenix.
You say so.
So that was it. And he's like, so that's the end.
All right, bye.
So they still have more. They still have more show to do, like more time to fill. So it can't just end like that. So what happens is that now that to fill in like this extra 40 seconds that they got, they just start showing you footage from the show we just saw. Like
a clip show.
It's just a
musical montage.
Yeah, just a clip reel of everything we just kind of had just seen. Like, no, we'll be back next week or nothing like that. No, it's just watch this shit
over again.
Hey, it was cool, right? You want to see it again? And so they just play that out. Now, this is what I wanted to play here. So this show was so influential. Like, it's made a lot of lists of greatest shows,
I'm sure.
kid shows of its time, of the 70s, 80s, and whatnot. because this did show in syndication in the 80s for a lot of kids. So it's been so influential that, you know, it's been referenced in a lot of pop culture. But I remember there was a song that I heard and I was like, wait a minute, I think that's from G-Force, from Battle of the Planets. So MF Doom, who you've heard me reference a lot. Yeah, he had his character King Ghidorah, and he had an album called, has an album called Take Me to Your Leader. And one of the songs in there called The Fine Print samples Battle of the Planets.
Right.
Render unto Ghidorah what is Ghidorah. Easy Dread had a rhyme on how they used to tease him about his pieces.
Is that him? Is that the mutant kid or whatever? Going, oh, oh.
He's rapping with it.
Yeah, he's rapping. I mean, it fits.
I know his own beatbox.
Yeah.
But that's the music from the show.
Right.
Yeah,
that's cool.
No, it is, man. I like that a lot.
It's a legacy.
So yeah, that's the show that I grew up with that really got me into anime.
Sure. Watching this made me want to see what the original show was like.
Well, there have been a lot of attempts to do a live action version of this. The Russo brothers.
Oh, really?
The Russo brothers. They have a script right now, but they don't. That's all they have. They don't have a.
Right.
There's there's no casting, and I don't think there's any big movement being done on this just yet. But if you do want to see the more adult version of this, you can find those episodes under Gotchaman.
Okay.
Yeah,
probably on YouTube.
Gotchaman. Yeah, you could. Yeah.
Oh yeah, free.
They have a Gotchaman movie that they made. Yeah, so you can find the unedited episodes or the source out there, and they've been trying for years to make a Battle of the Planets movie here, a Gotchaman movie or whatever, but they were trying to do a CG version of it at one time.
Yeah.
And that didn't go through.
Yeah.
But yeah, check it out, y'all. Check out Battle of the Planets and check out Gotchaman if you can. Yeah, they did another show like this. It was called Star Blazers, but Star Blazers didn't have the stuff edited out as much.
Oh,
they left a lot of it in.
Nice, I like that.
Yeah, you could tell too because characters died and all that kind of stuff, man. Yeah, Star Blazers is what it was called, and that's after. So after Battle of the Planets, Star Blazers was the other one that got me into anime. Nice. So between those two, it was like, wow. Yeah, those shows, I'd never seen anything like them. Star Blazers was more like I hadn't seen storytelling like that for a kid's show, which it wasn't a kid's show. And like I said, with Battle of the Planets, the animation blew me away. So yeah, y'all check it out, man.
Cool.